بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد الصادق الواعد الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear viewers, I hope you are well. I hope everyone is well. Alhamdulillah, we have come back, Alhamdulillah, and we are here to talk about a very important topic. We hope you will get involved today. We hope you share the benefit with everyone, share the link out with your family and friends. And of course, let's first of all welcome our dear Shaykh, Shaykh Imran. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan wa ahlan bik, Sayyidi Maulay. I'm fine, I'm good with the grace of God Almighty. Well, I've been missing you, bro. Washtani, wallahi, washtak.
You know what? It's been a while. I think, everyone's busy. This whole lockdown and return to lockdown and no lockdown and the rules changing. I think we're all a bit all over the place, but we're trying to find some sense of equilibrium. We want our viewers to get involved. So assalamu alaikum to you all. Please comment, please like, please share the benefit. Please get involved today. We want to hear from you. This was a topic suggested by yourselves, okay? The topic of today, everyone, is the impact of divorce on all sides, the trauma, the challenges, the outcomes, the effects of this part of life. We can't deny it happens, and we're going to talk about it today. We're not going to hide behind sugar-coated speeches and things and stuff like that. We've got to get real. We've got to talk about things that affect our community, our families, our neighbors, our friends. We need to be real about this and understand that it's not a simple thing, and it's important. So please, we want you to ask questions. We want you to get involved. We need you to be a part of this and share the benefit with us. So hit like, hit subscribe, and of course, share the link with your family and friends. And if you're watching back later, please do give us your feedback. Please do comment on the video still. We want to hear from you. This is very important. This is a topic that I'll remind you, have suggested. Several people asked for this topic, and we have therefore not shied away from discussing it. Maulaya, what do you think? Where we're going to start? What's your take on this topic?
First of all? Allah give you barakah bismillah ta'ala for starting us off in this particular way. That it truly is a very essential, important subject matter of discussion, conversation, but in fact, a reality of our times, reality of our circumstances. And the thing is, and this is something that, inshallah ta'ala, in our discussion, conversation will become very apparent, very clear, and that there's a lot of stigma around the process, or of course, when people go through this very traumatic, difficult, painful separation, breakdown, all right, of a particular relationship, a particular commitment that was made. Because if you look at this, Maulana, nikah is one of the most beautiful of acts.
Yes.
And nikah sunnah, we call it Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That nikah is my sunnah, Maulana. And the ones who do not engage in it, do not become part of it, they're not even amongst us. The Prophet is warning us that this is something great, this is something important. And this is why, and as yourself, Maulana, I get the same opportunity to go to, nikahs and ceremonies, and it's really beautiful. And even under the restrictions of COVID, Maulana, right? They said in it you're allowed about, I think it was 30 people, then they reduced it to about 15 people.
15,
right?
Yeah.
We had social distancing and stuff like that. So I've been to one or two of them. I'm like, Ya Allah, where love needs to blossom, it needs to blossom, mate. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna happen. So even though, of course, it has reduced the numbers, especially from our culture and the type of cultures we are from, all right, we get hundreds and hundreds, if not lala, mama, chacha, nana's taluk with the third person, chhod ke chotha uski bhi bulana hai. So all of that went out the window, really. But alhamdulillah, have this sense of communion, getting together, creating this love and affection. Of course, in our case, it's the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Now, we start our relationships in that particular way. No one starts with anger. No one starts with frustration. No one starts with this thing about, oh, I hate this person, I'm going to get married to him. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Unless I heard one of these comedians a long time ago, and he goes, if you consider marriage, right, to be genuinely a place where you are going to get trauma, you're going to be traumatized, you're going to become stressed, you're going to have all of the types of mental health problems. Guess what? Marry your enemy. At least they will receive all of that. Na'uzubillah. Of course, I make a humorous comment, all right, for in a very serious situation. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
that. But then again, if we do not approach these subject matters in this particular way, sometimes it is sometimes very difficult to palate, really, or to swallow this type of subject matter. So, Maulaya, for me, it is important to start from that perspective, that no one enters any relationship, right, and especially a relationship of love, affection, compassion, a relationship of getting together, min nafsin wahida, that it is made from one nafs,
Yeah.
isn't it? That you have come together. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, spouses from amongst you. And what has He done? He has created mawadda wa rahmah. He's created love and mercy within you. So no one enters this particular type of communion and relationship with this idea, you know what, I'm going to get in and I'm going to do 12 rounds of basho. No one gets that. Now, this is why it is sometimes it's a very difficult subject. And it is something which is not always very easily palatable. It's something which people want to talk about, discuss. But under the circumstances, under contemporary statistics, when we look at it very carefully, I can break it down to certain communities and certain we can say Muslim communities, but if you look at national, even international statistics, divorce is one of the all-time high. Doesn't matter what religion, what culture, what background it is. And in fact, in westernized or in modern countries, not even westernized, but so I'm saying in modern countries, in the sense that financially you are stable, economically you are stable. Do you understand? There's a sense of progression, at least physically, wealth-wise, and many other ways. In that particular way, in them countries, it's even higher. So it tells you that staying together is not only about dependency anymore. There was a time when relationships were based upon dependency.
Yeah.
It's not. I need something from this person, right? So there might have been, a difference of economical benefit, maybe, or it could be status, it could be position, it could be, even engaging with a family, Maulaya. It could have been, I'm strengthening my position so people, third parties don't harm me. So what I'll do is I will give my daughter, or my daughter will marry into that family that will strengthen my kin with them.
Yeah.
So these are different reasons why people would marry and etc. And predominantly it was for reasons which were economical, status, progression, strength, political, all of these different reasons. But what you find today, and especially the world that we live in, even though we still have our cultural struggles, we still have that, वो मेरे भाई की जो बच्ची है उसके साथ आपने शादी करनी है और हमने आपका नाम जो है वो कई सालों से दिया हुआ है और आपने उस वहां ही शादी करनी है, नहीं करनी तो वहां दरवाजे निकल जाओ. Okay, I'm exaggerating, right? I am exaggerating, but the thing is, there is some truth in my statement, what I'm making, that some families still hold on to that, right? And that has its problems. Not always. Okay, statistics do show that people who engage in relationships through arrange, stay together longer.
Shaykh, I'm going to jump in here, and we're not talking about marriage. We're going to get into divorce in a minute, right? But I want to make a point on that. The statistics don't show how happy those people are. Okay. Now, I know marriage is not about happiness. That's not the goal of marriage necessarily. But those marriages, we know them quite well. A lot of people suffer in those marriages and they don't end up in a divorce. So it's not about whether there's a divorce or not, Shaykh. There's a lot of suffering going on in those marriages, and we know about it. So I just want to put that out there, that we can't sugarcoat it and say statistics. You got to get into reality sometimes as well.
Let me share with you. I agree with you, and this is a different dimension. Like there are families I have come across, all right, some culturally who are engaged in that culture, but the thing is they have so much stigma, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that for them is whoa, in what? साड़ी बेइज्जती हो जाती,
That's
right?
right. Shame. The family is going to go down the drain.
It's true, but Maulana, I want to say this, that
Yes,
there's a
go
reason
ahead.
why that exists. There's a reason why that exists. And if you look into the religious significance, how our Deen al-Islam gives permission, there is leeway to this. It's within our judicial structure. In fact, our Deen and the Quran al-Kareem and Surah Talaq is very clear about this. The way it talks about, the process of that in Surah An-Nisa, and how it talks about if there is a disagreement between these individuals. All right, there is a process that Ad-Din al-Islam gives, Shariat, presents for us, doesn't it? So ultimately, the idea is not you made a commitment. This is why I started in this particular way. Okay, no one comes into a relationship to get out of the relationship.
No, indeed.
That's why I'm starting like that. Okay, fine. There could be different reasons. There could be arranged. There could be, love, romance, whatever reason, whichever way you came in, your intention was never to get out. But the sad thing is, and reality is, we do get out, right? And we need to somehow deal with the stigma, especially there is a fairly high percentage of individuals, families, and etc., which you are touching on, and you are touching on a very crucial point, Maulaya. Very crucial point. There are people, there is so much stigma, they go, and their lives are hell. Yeah. They are living with spouses which they hate. Their own children that are within them families are impacted by that. They don't see love between their mom and dad. They don't see affection. They don't see compassion. They don't see mercy. All right, and that destroys the. This is why Shariat gives ijaza. It gives permission. That is leeway for it. Why? Because Shariat understands that there has to be a sense of real well-being within your life. Zindagi, what's the purpose of life? To live it.
Yeah, to live, to share, to grow together, to develop, to progress.
That's what it is.
And if you've got this negativity around you, it's not going to go that way.
It's not going to go that way. And of course, when negativity occurs, and Maulana, I think that this is why in this particular manner it was essential. And I think when we discussed and conversed about this, and I agreed, and you also agreed at the same time, we were talking about discussing, and I agreed with you that we talk about the processes, we talk about the legislation of divorce, we talk about the processes of divorce, we talk about what is the Sharia Sharia rules and regulations.
Yeah, we do.
A particular bondage that you have has been imposed upon you. We talk about all of that.
Yeah.
But what we don't talk about, or we talk about divorce in a very stigmatic way, in a manner where we stigmatize it. All right, we see it as abhorrent, disgusting, false, wrong. That's the type of discussion we have. But we don't talk about. Okay, look, Allahu Akbar. There's a merciful element to this. Number one. And I know of this because I've also looked at very carefully of many cases from the Jewish tradition as well, because the Jewish orthodoxy and Jewish judicial structure, Maulaya, around talaq, they call it gat. They call it gat. Gat is the talaq, which is at the hand of the man.
Okay.
It's very similar. In fact, Orthodox Jewish women have similar type of problem, right, of getting out of the certain relationships.
Yeah.
Because the power to give talaq is a hand in the man's hand, and the man is being a pain in the where, and he's not doing the right thing, and he's taking that. There's this Maulana, this side, this aspect of talaq as well.
No, just on that point. One of my colleagues, he did a degree in law. He did a PhD in law. You know what his PhD was on? It was on Sharia courts. You know the Sharia courts we have, the help husband and wife.
And family Sharia court.
Yes, exactly. And he made a parallel comparison to the Jewish Sharia courts. The Jews have the exact same process. They don't have this legislation. Ladies are stuck in marriage. They don't have a judge, a qadi, and they don't have Jewish laws in the UK, nor do they have Islamic laws in the UK. So they have to go to a Sharia court, whatever the Jewish court is called, right?
Yeah.
And it's very similar process.
Yeah,
rabbinical courts. Yeah, exactly. So this is where we need to get to, Shaykh. That people, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, go on. Before you do that, carry on. I'll let you carry on.
No, मैं एक चीज अर्ज करनी हाली कि but there's a slight difference. The reason I'm sharing this is that this is, sometimes we feel, it's only amongst Muslims this.
Yeah.
Right? They're given this right is in the hand of the man, and guess what? It's all Muslim. It's a patriarchal structure, and because of that, we have no right. Now, but the thing is, it does exist, but there's a slight difference between the Judean tradition and our tradition.
No, Shaykh, Islam is not patriarchal. I don't like that statement. Let's not put that out there. Islam is not patriarchal.
I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying people see this, that men in Sharia gives this right to give talaq.
So in terms of marriage, yes, in this particular device, the Sharia has recognized a right for the male in particular to have this control. Yeah, we agree with that, without a doubt.
No, there's no doubt. No, what I'm saying is that's not my opinion. That's not my view. What I'm trying to say is it's the view of people who might have an opposition or critical eye to see, this is what Islam is, right? Okay. That's why I have shared that something similar, this similar structure exists in another religion. Right? They have a similar problem, but the difference between their structure, the gut structure, the divorce structure of theirs and ours is this: our women still have the right through khula to ask for that divorce. They don't have that.
Yeah. Could you explain khula to our viewers, please?
I will do. It's still khula is where, for example, if the relationship has broken down to that level, the woman is in a place where she cannot live in the home anymore, right? And the truth is, no divorce happens through happiness, does it?
No.
Divorce only happens when genuinely the fabric of that particular nuclear structure has broken down, CD. All right? That's when it happens, right? Now, in that state, the woman, the lady, is saying, I can't do this anymore, right? And the man is not ready to, which is the right of the man to give. The man is not ready to give the talaq, right? The words, the statement, the written, whatever form it is, all right, he's not ready to do that. So the woman within Sharia code, a woman has the right to take a case to a court, and she sacrifices a certain percentage, 50%, or even all of her mahar that was given to her,
the dowry,
and she said, I will give you this back, give me my talaq.
Yes.
Now this is what khula is, the basic structure of khula is. But the thing is, khula is not a woman, it's not a woman giving talaq, it's a woman gaining talaq from the man through the legal and the judicial pressures of Sharia courts. Which, let me share with you, does not exist in the same context, does not exist within the Sharia tradition. Does it? So
interesting.
And still, in other words, there's still rahmah, and there is a way of her getting that. And let me share something else. We argue and disagree and we shout that, why men, I'm just putting it out there because it's important as a discussion.
No, I agree with you. We need to have discussion.
Why men have been given this right?
Yes.
One of the main reasons is this. Even though we can argue about maybe the men of today, we are our internal state. We can't even deal with certain things ourselves. I'm looking at myself as well. But we're talking about that men supposed to have much more control over their emotions and feelings. I used to joke about this, but really that joke has become a reality. I used to say, if our wives had the right to give talaq, I would be giving talaq 10, 15, 20 times a day. Because the internal state, and this is biological, this is chemical, this is human, this is the basic gender differences that Allah Ta'ala has created, and He has ingrained and coded in humanity as genders. That's how we are, that's our chemical structure, our chemical makeup. That a lady's emotions, feelings can change split of a second, up and down, different emotions, different feelings. All right, it can happen at particular times. Now, 9 times out of 10, they don't mean what they may say with their mouth, but in the same case, a man has been given the temperament of a man is that he controls that. Men tend to be a bit more patient, or they're supposed to have a little bit more control over their tongue, in control over what they are saying. They need to respect. And even women throughout all cultures say one thing: why didn't you tell me what you're feeling? Why didn't you tell me what you're thinking? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if it's a lady from in England. Doesn't matter if it's a lady from America. Doesn't matter if it's a lady from from the Far East, or it's not from the Middle East. It doesn't matter from Africa to Russia. They all have one complaint: why don't our men tell us what's going on in their heads? It is now, even though we see it as a humorous thing, but this is a reality of how the natural state of men works. Now, there is a reason. The reason is a man's supposed to take more than what a woman can take. Now, this is why this right was given into the hand of the man, that the man doesn't flip upside down every single time it doesn't go his way. He doesn't say, hey, put it to I'll give you talaq, oh, I'll give it to you. No, he has control over that.
What's happening today, Shaykh? Is that the thing? Is that what's happening today?
Today, this is why the discussion has to be much more broader than just say, just to say, people are getting together and they become, modern organ, Loki modern organ, style ho gaya ji, shadi karke talaq deti de, I'm divorcee me. No, that's making it very simplistic, and that's a very primitive way of looking at it. Right? The truth of the matter is slightly more complicated than that. And the complication, after we've discussed the reasons why we get married, have changed. Now imagine this, Sidi. If you have married someone on the basis of what? That I want to live a harmonious, loving life with this individual. Okay? Now, there's no other dependency. It's not a financial dependency. It's not a status dependency. It's not a family dependency. It's not about protection. It's not about politics. Nothing. It's only what? I love you and I want to live my life with you. Now, one needs to understand this, that the issue with love is you fall in love and you fall
out of love. It's up and down, Shaykh. It's up and down.
Kabhi khushi,
Sidi
Maulay. This is the biggest thing. Now, if there aren't other things, other pressures, or other glues which keep you together, right? May that be commitment of children, may that be because of your status, your position, your name, whatever reasons they may be, right? It keeps you close in that particular relationship. If that doesn't exist, if the man and woman are only fending for themselves, what are you gonna get? This is not working for me. See you around. I'll fight a divorce. No problem. That's what's happening.
But Shaykh, this is probably what we're talking about today. That might be true on one side.
Yes.
But sometimes one person's all in and they are fully in, and they see it to the level that this is my life partner, I can never let go. And when they let go and they hear that words, their world comes crashing down. The other person maybe even preempted this when they got married, like maybe ending divorce, I don't know. This is how people think these days, like you said. It's not simplistic. This is it. So this is a very painful experience for some people.
ना मौलाया अगर मोहब्बत हो एक तरफ
one way love
तो मिलती है सजा.
One way love results in punishment, pain and punishment.
अगर मोहब्बत हो दोनों तरफ,
if love is from both sides
तो मिलता है मजा.
MashaAllah, pleasure is attained. True. Of course, you got to be in it. You got to be in it to win it. If you're not in it, then okay, you've enjoyed yourself, and then what? You do one. You've caused a lot of harm there. It's this very whimsical approach, and this is unfortunately how some people may well be, or they may well become. like you said, because they reflect and think, well, I don't need the person financially, I don't need them, my family, I can go home, I can do this, I got that, I got this, I've got everything. You know what? I've had enough of this person, and the next step is divorce.
It is. And now let's look at this city, Mawlay.
Yeah.
Within the context of our deed, our religion, that Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam has given us through Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. All right, now this, and then the acceptance of this process, even though how much emphasis is given within Sharia of nikah, at the same time, our deen is very clear about this. If your relationship breaks down, you get people to arbitrate between you, right? وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنَهِمَا فَبَعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا.
No.
Allah Tabaraka said, and if you have reason to fear that a breach might occur between a married people, appoint an arbitrator. And you got a person who's going to sit in between from your family and from her family. The woman, don't jump straight at it. It's a process, bro. Of course, the verses just before that also talk about the separation of beds, or having a discussion, being a bit more harsh with each other about the circumstances and situation between you. And then you get to the point, okay, you know what? We can't do this ourselves. We need a third party involved. Right? Now, of course, nowadays, sorry. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa barik. Now, if that could be a family member, that could be a friend, that could be a colleague, that could be an imam, that could be whoever it is, right? Or that could be a therapist, all right? Someone that you can go and have a conversation with. You have marriage counselors.
Yeah.
Right? Now, why are we're talking about, we're getting to that place where, this is not working. Now, you've gone through all of them processes, you've gone through the trial tribulation, you've tried to have the negotiation, you've had your arbitration, you've had the, all of you've done. Oh, ya Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. What do? Do you stick it out? Do you say, I made a commitment, मेरी ज़बान है, मैं अपनी ज़बान के खिलाफ नहीं जाऊंगा? Or do what Shariat is saying. Okay, you and I cannot stay together anymore. And let me share something with you. See, the way I'm sharing this with you, I remember I was sitting with Dr. Bashir Ahmed Siddiqui Sahib rahmatullah alayhi, a great scholar, a great alim, great fazil. And what he was saying is according to what the Quran says. It's how beautiful this is. That he says, how sad it is today, when we, of course, naturally you're angry, you're frustrated, your relationship is not progressing. So in other words, the key fabric, the inner fabric of your relationship has broken down now. So what do? We become what? Vengeful. We start poking at each other. We start stripping each other down.
Becomes nasty.
We become very nasty. All right, some of the things that we do, and I can understand to some extent. I can understand why people do that, because sadly we do not know how to deal with our emotions, our feelings. And what did Dr. say so beautifully? It's from the Quran what he's saying, but he put it in the modern context. He goes, you say to your spouse, look at this, Mullah. He goes, say to your spouse, मेरी रफीका हयात, तेरा और मेरा रिश्ता टूट गया। वो पहले दिन की जो मोहब्बत थी वो नहीं रही। अल्लाह ने हमें बच्चे दिए, सब कुछ हुआ, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, जितनी हमने जिंदगी गुजारी वो गुजारी। एंड देन ही सेज, फिर क्या करो? टैक्सी बुलाओ, जाओ उसके भाई को बुलाओ, जाओ उसके बाप को बुलाओ, और एक बहुत खूबसूरत सा जोड़ा खरीद कर उसके हाथ में दो और उसको कहो कि इंशाअल्लाह ताला अगर अल्लाह ने तेरी जिंदगी में और किसी का नाम लिखा हुआ है, अल्लाह तुझे वो दे। अल्लाह ने अगर मेरी जिंदगी में किसी का नाम लिखा, अल्लाह वो मुझे दे। And that's how we part from each other. Now you
Could you explain that in English, Shaykh?
I will do. The Sheikh said, he said it so beautifully. He goes, in fact, what he was saying, he made it into the modern context. But what he was saying is what the Quran says. Because of course the Quran is very clear that you never give talaq when she's going through her monthly period.
Yeah.
Right? You don't do that. It is always in a state of when she's in tahur. Right? Because then fully you can be with her, you can engage with her, you know her, and there's not all that relationship, there's a process that has been put. And then what is the problem? That if you give her talaq, that in that period you have to look after her. She stays in your home. You can't just say, I'll give talaq, get out of my house. You can't do that.
Wow.
Sharia says this. You can't do that. And if she's hamila, doesn't the Quran say this, Maulaya? Surah Talaq is very clear about Surah Nisa. It indicates to all this again and again. Doesn't it say? It says that if she's hamila, she is with a child, then through the process of pregnancy, then the 2 years after that, the man has to provide, has to give, even though he's given talaq to her. You can't touch her, you can't take benefit from her, you can't do anything like that, you know. But yeah, this is our Sharia saying. Now, Dr. said, I just very quickly say, quickly translate what he said. He goes, you sit down with your wife. You say to her, my beloved, my life partner that you are, or you were, our relationship has broken down. Our love has fizzled out, right? We can't be with each other anymore. So then he says, what you do is you buy a beautiful, suit, for her. Very nice one, beautiful one. Give that to her as a present. Call her brother, call her dad, call someone that she trust, taxi, or whatever it is. And with immense harmony, send her to her house, her parents' home. And say to her, do dua for her, that your and my life was up to here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you someone who will be good for you and is written for you. May Allah give me who is good for me and who's written for me. Now, this is talaq. What am I talking about? I'm talking about talaq here, Sidi. I'm talking about divorce here, Sidi. I'm talking about separation, Sidi. I'm talking about when you don't have the emotion, that feeling anymore for that human being. I want to say something here, which might be controversial, but I want people to reflect for a second, yeah?
Bismillah, go ahead. Let's get more involved.
In this subject matter, in this area of discussion, conversation, I don't like looking at only one-dimensionally as a subject. I have to look at it from a very diverse position. So I looked at, how I'm going to say, even in the Western world, in fact, in the Western world, some of the ruthless things happen. When I want 50% of your money. I want the custody of the kids. I want your wealth. I want your car. I want your house. I want you. I want your life. I want you dead. Nauzubillah. But then I have also seen TV for the sake of their kids, for the sake of the time they have spent with each other, for the sake of that love that they had between each other, they are civil between each other. They meet each other as friends. They see each other. No, I'm not saying I want to see friend, but no, that I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm talking about a different culture here. What I'm saying is al-hikmatu dalat al-mu'min, that wisdom is the lost property of a believer. Okay, we won't do the mingling shingling, but at least we will be amicable, we will be respectful, we will be, kind, not nasty. But our sadness is that we become nasty. We become ruthless. Right? The one way of divorce, may that be a woman toward a man, maybe that be a man toward a woman. Akhal Aziz, we use our kids as pawns in the system. We poison our children towards the father. We poison our children towards the mother. And we forget we are accountable for this. Because you have broke down as a husband and wife, Maulaya, you're still the parents of them children. They still see you as mommy and daddy. And what do? What do? We fill our children's heart and mind. Your father didn't do this. Your father didn't do it. Tell him. Your mother, look at her. What's wrong with her? Tell her. What are we doing? And that's, when we talk about impact of divorce, this is an area we are going to touch on, and we are touching on, inshallah ta'ala, the impact after divorce, that impact upon the individual, on the couple, on the families, upon friends, upon the psychological state. Maulaya, I know we mentioned this, that it is mental health day. I believe so, that it's awareness day, and the mental health of these individuals is unbelievable, the impact of that city. And then of course the impact of divorce on children, which has been something which we don't talk about, we don't discuss, we don't mention. All right. And our problem is, and Maulaya, maybe you can also share some views and ideas on this. Our problem is, when it comes to talaq, one way of looking at talaq is the point that you made. And the other side is, la-di-da, get her out of here. I'll find there's more fish in the sea, bro. And they think that's a joke as well. There's two extremes here. So by creating the balance, pulling people into the middle, and then informing them, the guys, those people that, mutallika, and that lady who has gone through divorce, the divorcee, right? And the man that has gone to divorce, the divorcee. It's not an easy process. It's one of the most difficult times, and Maulana, I've had the opportunity, as you have as well, to try to help, become the arbitrator in between, become that person who tries to help individuals to maybe find that light or that flame back up again. But sadly, many times it does get to the place where you realize, I've tried many times to use the match to put up the flame, but it's not working. I can't find the flame to come, regenerate. It's impossible. And we get to the place, and these two individuals who are going to go through this breakup, Maulaya, is the most traumatic experience for them. Someone that you shared everything with, your life, your dreams, yourself, your jism, especially from our cultures. Alhamdulillah, many of us don't have relationships before. We're not boyfriend-girlfriend type of relationships. We don't have that. Some do, that's a different relationship. But some don't have that. They've never ever had a sexual relationship with any other human being. That was their first experience in life of that intimacy, of that love, of that touch, that feeling, that kiss, that caress. Someone that had the same type of feelings, same type of dreams, right? And alhamdulillah, because of that process, Allah gave them, and some are bestowed with, the bounty of children. Some are not bestowed with the bounty of children, right? But some are. When they are, Allah has given them through that love, because generally they had that love for each other. They genuinely had that for each other. Now, Maulana, suddenly that's removed. Suddenly that's taken for financial reason, because of external pressures, right? I wanted him to marry my sisters or my patani khala's daughter, and he didn't. You know what? In his khalil pada karo. Let's create this fitna in them, so it breaks down. There's this as well. We forget this part.
Allah.
There are people who do some very mischievous activity, right? Externally. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, inshallah ta'ala. But this is the reality of the breakdown, Sidi Maulay. But what I'm saying is that the impact of that, Sidi.
Yeah.
I came across something very, very traumatic, but I'm telling you something from my own personal experience, Sidi, because the number of people we deal with, and I'm ex-partners, and once they break down, this is what happens to them. They go into a hole, they go into a cave, emotionally, psychologically. there's an increased unhappiness, loneliness, and distancing from close people. That's what happens. In fact, in our culture, if there's a divorcee, and sadly, if that divorcee is especially if it's a woman, and she's got kids, she becomes a person who's outside of society.
I wanted to touch on that, Shaykh, that particular point. And, we talked about the impact of divorce on different people. But I want to just maybe talk about the area of, we always think that, I mean, it's true to some degree, I wouldn't deny that, but we always think that the woman suffers the most, yeah? Just like you mentioned there. And sometimes we even make it out as the man's okay. Oh, another shadi, you do another marriage. He get on with his life. She's the one stuck now. She's a divorcee. She's not going to be looked at in the same way. So I just want to touch on this that, I personally think they both have been impacted massively. Yeah. I just don't think we understand the impact it's had on the male, and he's really not even understanding what is happening to him, right? And he moves on with a very, maybe cold heart, because like I said earlier, ladies are more emotional. They probably take it to heart more. But there's also men that are in real pain, extreme pain, when they go through a divorce as well. It's just they're better at hiding the pain. They're better at, just getting on with life. It's somewhat, not all the time, somewhat easier for them to move on. But there's a lot of pain there for men as well that we seem to deny almost.
We do that as a culture. We do that as, as men and women. We have this particular persona and view. Do you remember when we discussed and we talked about being a father, showing love, showing compassion? All right, we've got this image that a manly man doesn't show emotions. He's heartless. Whereas we realized it isn't like that. Mom dil, the softness of the heart is the genuine attribute of a prophet, Rasulullah like him.
Yes.
In fact, what you've just said, let me share something with you. I came across something very interesting, and I'll share something from my own personal experience as well, because I work with men in prison structures, so I know their stories, and I've been doing this for 13, 14, 15 years, right? I'll share it with you in a few moments, but I want to share something with you. There's a divorce lawyer, and her company, she's American, and she did it's a very good, I can't remember, I've watched this a while ago. It's a TED talk she gave.
Okay.
And she said, she goes, and the people that she's a divorce lawyer, but she works with men who are divorcees.
Okay.
Right? So her company caters for men who go through divorce. Right?
Okay, interesting.
And she goes, she's done it for about 30 odd years, right? And they've worked with, I don't know how many tens of thousands of men. Okay. And a person like that giving you information, it holds clout and value.
Yeah.
So the first thing she says is that this is a misunderstanding. This is a lack of knowledge. This is a very primitive way of observing the impact of divorce by saying, on men, saying, oh, they'll get over it.
Yeah.
She goes, that is very far from the reality of what men go through. She goes, in the structure that has been created, especially in America, she's in America based. She goes, in America, within the law which governs divorce, because they have a civil process. The civil process is some of the most strenuous and the difficult processes that people go through.
Right.
And the way men deal with that is that they become substance abusers, they become alcoholics, they become introvert, some become angry, frustrated, they become people who are, they inherit or they adapt behaviors, right, which are ultimately detrimental to them. Okay? Yeah. Because just like the woman, the man has also shared some of the most secretive, most innate, most, internal desires with that individual, right? A man's connection to his descendants, his children, is very powerful.
Yeah.
Right? And when that man sees I was talking to a brother
Yeah.
Sahab, I can deal with a lot. But the day when my wife left me and she took my daughter away from me, he goes, it killed me. He goes, that killed me. He goes, it just killed me. I knew I'm not going to see her anymore. I won't be able to talk to you. I mean, if I come home, she won't say, Daddy, how you been? How was your day? This, that, whatever. I wouldn't hear that. I will be bound by the courts. I'll be limited. I will be restricted. Because I get it.
Yeah.
Very sorry, Sidi. Bismillah.
No. You're right. It takes a lot of people.
Completely, Sidi. You know what you've touched on is oh my God, it's the reality. And the thing is, Sidi Maulai, when you listen to these people, when you talk to them, and I've given you an example of a person who has worked for 30 odd years with these individuals, and her experience, her real life experience of working with tens of thousands of men who have gone to, she goes, we've not understood this. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. These men are humans. These are creatures who have feelings, pain, everything, as the women do. But sadly, what tends to happen is that when we are in our battle for the custody of our children, when we are in battle of, I want money out of this, I want wealth out of it, and I'm going to be blunt, there's a reason why Sharia gave ijazat of this, because there are violations of individuals' rights that take place within families, within relationships. And Sharia is based upon hukuk and faraid.
It is. It's important.
So even in the civil context, Sidi Mola, even in the civil context, there's a reason. When you look at law, Sidi, law has to be seen through the lens of giving rights. It has to come through that process. When the law was passed around the sharing of wealth, right? Then of course later on celebrities and everything and lawyers, they created something called prenuptials.
Prenups.
If our relationship breaks down, I'm not going to give you this. And that's a bit ruthless stuff. Anyway, that exists. So the law was created to help the vulnerable, because there were so many, and in this case, women were on the receiving end of this. In this case, the women were on the receiving end. That women were not given their right, and a lot of women, and I'm talking about statistically, a lot of women they don't work for themselves. They are dependents, because they are homemakers, because they look after kids, because they are individuals who look after the internal aspects of the household and structure. So they don't have their own personal income. Disposable income, they don't have that. So ultimately they are dependent on the man. In this I'm not talking, there are other people have their own different dynamics. I'm talking about as a general rule. All right, and this is not only in our culture. This is you can talk about Western cultures, we can talk about subcultures in different areas. It's very similar, right? So in that context, why the law had to be passed, that once the relationship breaks down and you are going through divorce, that the man should provide a certain amount of money and wealth to the woman, because she has not, all the years that she stayed with him, right? She was a dependent. Now she has become independent. She's gonna start underneath the economical, line.
Ladder.
Yes, right at the bottom, because she has nothing. She's gonna be on benefits. She's going to be on, if she has kids, she might get, child benefits or whatever. She might get that. But other than that,
tax credits
or whatever. But even that's hand to mouth, Sidi. She'll have to work. I know, Allahu Akbar. Sidi, this hurts me. Whenever I say this, I go, what the hell, Imran? Why do you know this? I shouldn't know this. I don't want to know this. I don't want these people to exist. All right? I want them to be in a good status and good place. Single women and single men. Right? I know stories on both sides. Oh my God, they sacrifice their lives for their children. They sacrifice everything. They don't have a spouse anymore. Their own relationship has broken down. They live isolated lives. They have become stigmatized. They're like, oh, this is a divorcee. Oh, this is untouchable. Don't touch them. Right? If in our culture, if a divorcee says, oh, I want to marry your daughter, or I want to marry your son, they're like, and they'll say, why did the first one break down then? What happened there? Right? Why did that happen? Is there something wrong with you? Is it this? Is it that? I'm not saying don't do your investigation. It's good to do that. But you also have to look at what that person is doing and the hardship they're going. Because like I said, these individuals, single fathers, that's what I'm saying. This is the hard way.
Mothers, yeah.
Single mothers. Ya Wallah, he see the two jobs. Marginal. Menial, something that they base this just about making money to get clothes for the kids. Right? To send them to school, to feed them. But guess what? They're doing it.
Alhamdulillah.
They're doing it. So the welfare system, I'm looking at the reason why that exists, why the rules exist. But the sad thing is, people have also played into that system. Yeah. I'm gonna marry a man who has a little bit more wealth and this and that, whatever. You know what? He's gonna die, or I'm gonna do him over, right? And I'll take advantage of that and get 50%. That is very stressful. That creates more trauma, anxiety, depression. It impacts self-esteem, and like I said, see the substance misuse. And I'm being very clear. This is what I'm saying to you. I'm not talking about non-Muslims here only. I'm talking about Muslims. People of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Definitely. Shaykh, on another level, what about the parents? Parents are sometimes arranged marriages in particular, the ones that said, do the marriage, get married. Sometimes they don't even want the marriage to break down. They kind of they push it on a bit longer. But eventually, if it's going to end, it ends. Parents, obviously, I'm talking on a personal level. I'm talking about the community level and the shame and the stigma. No, that's something you mentioned, and it's ongoing. I'm just talking about, internally, where is the parent right now? They've lost their 20, 30-year-old son, daughter, could be even more than that, but they now have lost their spouse. They may have children. Where does the grandparents, where does the father and mother of both the man and the woman, how do they cope? What's their role? What do they do? How does it affect them? Do you even think of that?
Yes, 100% Siddhi. Because if it's an arranged marriage, them individuals have put a lot on the table. They put the credibility, they put their own relationship of their brother, their sister, their relative, their friend, whoever it is, that the child... Big time. Everything. They put everything on the table. This is why, like I said, the roles that we play, Siddhi. Yeah. Positions, roles that we have. And it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we get this opportunity to do this as imams, as, advisors, as whatever we are. Allah accept this from us. Amen. We have to understand the full picture before any answer is given, because ultimately we're accountable. So what I'm saying to you, like a grandparent or a parent, and especially if they were the person in the middle, right, arranging that relationship, it might be that parent's brother or sister's girl or boy, right, whose divorce has now taken place, okay, and in the process their own child has also been harmed through this. Many of them now they blame themselves. Maybe I should have not done that. I should have not suggested my niece or my nephew. I should have not just suggested my friend's daughter or son. Right? Yeah. But the issue is this is another cultural issue, that within our culture we have a tendency to close down, or we become bitter within ourselves. What we do is, many times the reaction is, you harmed my niece, the daughter of my sister. I don't want to lose my sister. I'll lose you. They'll kick the son out. Right? Or
Yes.
or what will happen is that they will complete. It's the other way around. Someone like that, son or daughter, around whatever the situation is. Or it will be in this particular way, where they'll cut off their sisters, they'll cut off their
Brothers.
the relations
Their
of the
friend.
husband.
Yeah.
Yes, the relations of the
Friendships. Yeah.
now they'll cut them off completely, which is detrimental for their own well-being, because
Yeah.
they've had long
What we got to remember here, Shaykh, is when people introduce people to each other, and I do it, sometimes here and there. We always put a caveat in, Shaykh. It's your job to make the marriage work. We're not responsible for the marriage. We believe, we make dua that you have a successful marriage, that Allah gives you together, keeps you together, and even if we were pushing for it and doing everything, end of the day, these are two adults, and they're both responsible for their actions. And if they end up getting it wrong, and there is oppression from one side, you can't hold a third party responsible. So I think that parents sometimes take too much on themselves.
No.
I think because they take so much on themselves, and the mentally and the stress that's involved, they end up making rash or incorrect decisions, not Islamically correct decisions, right? They might feel it's correct according to them and their culture or their feelings and emotions, but it's not what Islam teaches. It's not the positive. It's not the right thing to do, basically. Because Islam is the truth.
I'm with you on that, but I'm going to say something.
Go ahead. Bismillah. Go for it.
I'm not going to say I empathize, but in fact I sympathize with them over this, because I whenever I've had the honor, and I always see it as an honor. I know you do as well, to do someone's nikah.
Yeah.
But every single time, if I'm the third person who is the individual, the registrar, you would say, or the person who is formulating, or
solemnizing the marriage, as they say,
the marriage itself, alhamdulillah.
I've written it. I'm solemnizing. When I do the nikah, I know that's why I say it. I'm solemnizing the marriage. It's your job to make the marriage work.
No. It's true. My thing is that I become emotionally attached to them two individuals.
MashaAllah.
Because I say to them very open, I go, look, on the day of judgment, I am accountable now.
Yes.
On the day of judgment, Allah Ta'ala is going to ask me. Because of me sitting between you, because you having these witnesses around you, and us guys going through this legal process, there's a responsibility on my shoulders now. Why? I'm making something haram into halal for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in that process, in that whole structure, process system that we've been provided of nikah, etc., if you violate that, it's not. I'm not saying you're humans and you can't. That's going to happen. But make sure that it's never unjustly done.
Yes.
Hurt happens, pain happens, right? Yeah. You hurt, you feel pain. You probably you wanting a certain type of spouse, but you didn't get that. All right, maybe they've got their own issues going on. They've got their own problems. They've not dealt with their own traumas in their life. How do you know? Suddenly they become part of your life. You can't deal with that burden because you got your own issues going, your own baggage.
Yeah.
Right? So them are things that break down. But I always emphasize that make sure if that does happen, there's no injustice in that process, because I'm accountable now. And that's hard, Sidi. I keep every nikah that I've done, I've been part of. Yeah. Sidi, it's in my psyche. I'm being blunt with you, Sidi. It's on my psyche. Now, I do the same. I have the same terminology that you use. Shar'an, this is something that has been provided to us, the type of, what we tend to say, we tend to distance ourselves. So we do all of that. But I am an emotional creature, Sidi, as you are.
Indeed.
I those two individuals, I have become part of a very significant part of their experience in life. They are saying I do to the most, in the human context, not that they were born of her, not that they were given, which is the love we have for our mothers and fathers. This is a love that you are chosen to give to someone else, and I'm part of that. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. I'm part of that experience of it. So for me, Sidi, I become like that. So when I become like that, this is why I say this every single time it comes out of my mouth. Without even thinking, I say this. I say, "Ye do nahi hai jo gatthe hone wale hain." It's not two people who get together. These are two families. They are two clans. They are two, entities that are getting together. The mother, I say to the girl that your mom and dad are his mom and dad. His mom and dad are your mom and dad. Then I say to the mom and dad, I don't only say that. And then I say to the mom and dad, it's easy for me to say this in this ceremony, but you have to treat her like you are mom and dad. She's leaving her home. She's leaving her comfort. She's leaving in the house where she's the princess. She's the princess. She goes, Papa, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And look, myself, I'm telling myself, Sidi, I'm being blunt with you.
You're a stubborn person, Shaykh. Very stubborn.
I can be very like that if I want to be. You know what I mean? But my wife, when my daughter says, Papa, I'm like,
that's it. Done.
I'm like, okay.
It's all right.
I'm like, no, I also have to keep boundaries. I have to create boundaries. I have to do all of that. But I do that reluctantly with her. I do that reluctantly.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to create them. I don't really want to create them because when she says that, because that's what I'm trying to say. As a daughter, she's in that house. Now she's going into a house, Akhar Aziz, where it's going to be difficult for her. She's going to a new place, new culture, new people. All the faces are going to be different. And I'm talking about those that go and live with the in-laws, for example, or around the in-laws.
Around the in-laws, neighborhood,
it works the other way as well. We have brothers and sisters who are coming from back home, and they live with their, wives' in-laws, for example. Sorry,
the other way around,
that has as well. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what the dynamics are, but ultimately that's what's happening. You are bringing another human being into your life. They're not only the wife or the husband of your child, but they are your child with that nisbat, right? So the impact, Sidi, that you're saying is given. For me, is given.
Shaykh, I've just got a question here. Somebody's messaged in. I think it's something maybe we should address now. It says, you mentioned that the divorce of the woman is stigmatized, and after divorce she's stigmatized. How can we change this in today's society? How can we change this in today's society? I think that's very good
one
question.
One of the greatest way to do that is look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu
alaihi wasallam.
Other than one lady, every other lady was a widower or a divorcee or a lady of an older age, right? That was in the aqd of Rasulullah sallallahu
alaihi wasallam. Yes. And even the Sahaba, I mean, of course, the Prophet ﷺ, first and foremost. We even look at the Sahaba. They married divorcees. They married, sometimes one passed away. Another Sahabi said, she needs a husband, marry her. He passed away. A third Sahabi would say, she needs a husband, offer the hand in marriage. Some women did not accept it, but most of the time they needed a husband. They wanted that comfort. They wanted support. Obviously, there was various reasons, like you said.
The other way around. Like for example, Sayyidah Khadija Kubra radiyallahu ta'ala. Look, when I look at this particular lady, now I'm going to use a term, right, which is usually used for a man, right?
Okay.
Is that she herself, and I'm going to use the word, she was the Don of Makkah Sharif.
Mm-hmm.
You said Don Corleone, like the fake man. Right? She was the Don, and please, people, don't take my word Don as derogatory or
offensive. Do you mean in a sense that she was top notch in a society?
Her finances, her business transactions would equal, if not better, than some of the best business people and merchants of Makkah Sharif. She did. Financially, no problem. Even her status as who she was, her Pak Damni, the type of woman she was, she was an advisor. She had an advisory role amongst her.
Her hand was sought. Yeah. She was, offered the marriage from various angles before. She could marry the Prophet.
Had children, all of that.
Yes.
Now, but look who she is and how much Rasulullah had loved her. Now, usually why people hold stigma against individuals who become divorcees is they blame the individual.
Yeah.
They say there must be something wrong with this woman. Because of that, that is why she's not. There was the relationship broke down.
Yeah.
You know, in Sharia, in our deen is very careful in doing that. Even if one is blamed, we have husnul zan and we give benefit of doubt and we say, agar is maafi mang liya, maybe that wasn't the person for that person. Maybe I'm that person for her.
Exactly. You know, there's so many reasons, Shaykh, it may break up. And you know what? It actually may be a reason in the person, right? It could be. You can't deny that. It could be. But that doesn't mean if somebody else gets married to him or her, the same that will come out towards that person. It could be that didn't fit with the person they're married to, hence they broke up. It may not be a reason in the person, Shaykh. I think that's, it's genuinely just a case of, it could be family dynamics, could be financial, it could be anything, Sheikh. We always try and find fault with the person or a characteristic and try and pinpoint something, and that's what creates the stigma. You're right. I think that attitude is very bad, and it's creating more and more problems for everyone in society, our communities. There's children suffering from this. There's men and women suffering from this. And if you look at the prophetic society, the society of Medina and the prophets and the companions, this did not exist. This was not a thing. It was nowhere. Well, nobody said she's been divorced 3 times. She's been widowed. Nobody said anything like that. Nobody. Just yes or no. Do you want to get married to her or not? It's between you and her. It's a new fresh thing. People ask the question, Sheikh, and I get the question sometimes, if somebody's divorced or when they get married to someone, can I ask them about their past? Can I ask them about if they've sinned or not, if they've done this or not? Yeah, we're trying to start a new journey together and you're trying to dig out dirt on the person. If you don't feel comfortable, just go somewhere else. If you've got some feelings and you think this is a good chance, Bismillah, go in a positive way. What's this idea? I want to, is there something wrong? Is there something this? Oh, of course, genuinely, if you have concerns about someone you are seriously interested in, you may want to ask something, go ahead and ask. If you want to take the risk of asking, Bismillah, there's nothing right or wrong in that sense. But we don't have this attitude, Shaykh, and this attitude you're talking about, I really want to make a point, it's creating this stigma, it's creating this taboo, it's creating this negative concept or idea or feelings towards divorcees, both male and female, and it's damaging our society.
It's damaging you. And let me share something else, which I hope could help towards removing this. Is this?
Yeah. Bismillah.
When you pick up the books of fiqh, when you pick up the book of fiqh, what you find is when they talk about marriage, when they talk about the concept of marriage, they talk about women who are sober, who've been married before.
Yeah,
They talk about mubakkira, women who are virgins. Yeah.
Yes.
And the emphasis and the amazing thing is the amount of detail that they go into talking about sobers, the benefits of them, why they're a very good person to have in your life. They've been through a certain experience. They understand the in and the outs of of life, right? They will have a slightly different outlook to life. Okay. In fact, it goes into that much detail that a sober can stand.
Previously married woman.
Yeah, she has a married woman who's been divorced. Now
she can represent herself,
and she can marry herself.
Yeah, anyone who's been married before.
It's like la nikah illa waliyin. That way, call Rasulullah. There's no nikah without a wali. That's what mubakkara. But even then, we as Hanafis, we also use that for our sobers as well. All right, just to give the honor and status. But reality is within the ahkam, Sidi. The ahkam is what? That she has the right to do this.
She's independent, has own say. She has her own say.
You just hit the word. You just said the word. Our Sharia is telling you that now she has traits, now she has those sifat, right? Which could be very beneficial for you. You know? And especially the world that we live in, Sidi Maulai, when your wife is a little bit more, independent in the sense that she goes and does things. She makes life easy for you, right?
I wish.
No. Come on. Allah khair kare. Allah karam farmaye. What I'm saying is, if a person has gone through the churn, has gone through difficulty and tried to be,
definitely. and maybe that's something you're seeking. And I'll give you an example of this as well from the companion, Sayyidina Jabir. Sayyidina Jabir's father was Martin Uhud, so he had sisters, and he went and got married to an older lady. Yeah. And the Prophet came to him and said, "What did you do, Jabir? You got married?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "Why did you get married to a young girl? you're young, you would have had a good time with it, etc. He goes, "Oh, Messenger of Allah, I've got sisters, I've got young sisters at home. I needed somebody mature, somebody who can look after them, somebody who can be a role model to them." Yes. Now we always want the young one, the virgin, like you said, the maiden, etc. But we look at Sayyidina Jabir. He's his first marriage. Yeah, and what did he pick? He picked somebody for his sisters. He had his sisters in mind. Father's just passed away. Mum's not around. We need mum's not around. We need some lady folks, mature ladies with life experience to be with my sisters. Look at that's a great. I mean, these are the companions, but look at the way they thought. Look at the way they wanted their society to be.
Culturally, let's clarify this. Culturally, our culture, Middle Eastern culture, I know about Ottoman traditions, especially the rules and regulations around nikah, around marrying women who have been married before. And of course, and everyone needs to keep this in mind that Shar'an, of course, we're allowed to marry up to 4, right?
Yeah.
And if you are equal and etc. And so many men would marry women who were much more mature. They had gone through a certain, and the purpose of that structure was there to give help and support to these women, and also their own benefit. It was their own benefit, because if they, for example, I'm just giving an example, that if they had 2 wives, all right, and one was much more career driven, for example, okay, they would marry another woman who's more of a homemaker, for example.
Home, yeah.
Right? And there is that. We have this tradition amongst the, there's Orthodox Jews that have the same tradition. We have this tradition amongst Mormons, right? We have traditions of a few other, religious entities, right? Religious organizations or religions of faith or whatever. But we have the same. But what our Sharia say, if you can't be equal to them, only one's enough.
Yeah.
Even Oscar, like for example, if a person comes to me, and it's happened many times with me, I look at who that person is. And I look at that person, if it's a man, I look at his mentality. And I'll say to him that, Yar, you need a person who's gonna help you. Right? If he's gonna help you, you need to look for someone who's had life experience in life. That'll be really good for you. I would give that advice to them. And I do. That's the advice I would give to them. But then there are other men and women that they need to grow with that person. So they need to go into a new relationship that they had no experience before.
Yeah, grow together, journey together.
Yeah, it's what's the word? Nafaka. What's the word that is used within our Sharia context, that there has to be some sort of compatibility?
Yeah, kafa'a.
Kafa'a. Yeah, there has to be some compatibility there.
Yeah.
Right. So once again, within the Sharia context, right, there's no stigma of any kind, right? Within in certain aspects of our own culture, or some I know about Ottoman traditions, right? Some Middle Eastern cultures, there's no stigma around that issue or that concern issue. Even in our own cultures, there was no stigma. At one time, there was no stigma. Where the stigma has come in is why we blame the individual. Is there which go wrong?
Yeah.
Right? The person is the problem. Yeah? People change, human beings change. If there is an issue in them, they need to look at that. They themselves. But that same human being, that same divorced lady, that same divorced man, all right, brings something even unique to the table.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how it should be. And this is something that I think, Maulana, this is something that we need to keep on discussing about.
Keep on spreading the message on this.
Yeah,
Shaykh, thank you for today. As we wrap up, I just want to bring in the fact that I believe, is it World Mental Health Day today? I believe it was. So I just want to bring that into the discussion as we finish. So maybe the final kind of remarks link in with mental health as well as divorce. Yeah, go ahead, Shaykh.
One area, and like you said, because this is the impact of divorce on all different people, yeah. And one group of individuals are the children.
Yes.
The children are a very crucial part in this. Now, when kids are faced with their parents divorce, I'm talking about, they can feel wide range of emotions. Okay. They become very confused. What's happening here, right? They've become frustrated with that relationship. Why are my mom and dad not engaging with each other? Why is this taking place? Why are they fighting each other? Right? Then anxiety builds in regarding that. Oh, I'm going to lose my family. I'm going to lose the because a child should never feel that their peaceful life has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Because having mom and dad there creates that harmonious, peaceful environment. Many times, some young people, they become very sad. They become recluse. They become distant, right? And sometimes, them young people blame themselves. They blame themselves. Is it me? Right? Is it because I've come into their lives? Because before me, by having me, because sometimes in the child's mind is I am the product of their love. Right? Now they broke down. Is it because of me? And then what we do, which is really sad, is that we use our children as pawns in the system. We use them against our spouses. We forget we are poisoning our own children. They are already going through the stress and the strain and the fear of their mom and dad breaking down. Their world around them breaking down. Right? And then on top of that, what do? We fill things into their heart and mind, which creates even more animosity and more hate. Then we use them as what they call it, the ball in between in tennis, yeah, the tennis ball. You smack up
table tennis ball, yeah.
Table tennis, and go and tell your mom this or whatever. And when the child comes to the mom's house, oh, go and tell your dad this. Why is he doing this? Why is he saying this? Because the thing is, as parents, we are still humans. We share our pains, our anger, our frustration, and sometimes through our children, we're trying to harm the spouse.
The other one.
We're angry on the spouse, but we see our child who has 50% of the DNA of that individual, we take it out on the child. Akal Aziz. This is why sometimes the kids feel that they're in fault. They are having heard their parents argue over them so many times. Especially, when you have custody battles. Oh my God, it's a mess. It's a total mess. Children are used as bargaining chips. Akhal Aziz. I understand there's love. I understand there's affection. Like the example I give you of that young man, where he said that I will not able to see my child on a daily basis. So they feel that I have a right over that. But what has happened, it becomes dirty. We use them as, that game that we play with each other. Right? Of hurting and harming and, probing and again and again, thinking to ourselves, right? I'm hurting him or I'm hurting her. In reality, you are hurting your child. And Sidi, you talk about mental health, Maulai, the level of anxiety, the level of depression, the level of state of sadness in that individual embeds so much. They have to generally go through immense therapy to get through, very difficult, and impacts their own relationships. But let me share something with you on a positive as well. There is research around this as well, that children, right, they are very resilient. If the parents deal with their children as their children, and not share their anger, their frustration with their children will get to a place where they will find harmony even with the separation. What messes everything up is when we poison our children. We make them go through court. We make them go through, all of these different, difficult experiences. We make them think that the father is evil. We make them think that the mother is evil. The grandmother is evil. The nana are evil. Whoever. Stop doing that. For God's sake. These are your kids. They have
innocent people, innocent children.
What they are seeing in you is what they are going to implement and manifest with their own relationships. The breakdown in itself is hard enough. You've chosen to do that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. No one will blame you for that. A child will go through, your daughter, your sons will get through all of that. That's not a problem. What they won't able to get through, which is going to be really hard for them, is the poison that you fill your children with. They're going to hate you for it. They're not going to be hard. They're not going to be nice. They're going to play a game in front of you. What they will do is they'll play you. You think you are playing your child will play you. Your child will say, "Oh yeah, mom didn't give me this." So you will try to be like, really nice dad and everything like this. You're going to start spending money on your child. You're going to start doing all this. What do you think that's doing to your child? And then when the girl or the boy, the child will go to the mom. "Oh, dad didn't give it this. He doesn't do this." "Oh, don't worry, putter. Don't worry, sonny. I'm your mom and I will look after you. This, that, whatever." And woman, that's true. Alhamdulillah. But what are you doing? Imagine, just reflect over the psychological impact. And especially the world, I'm telling you straight, the world we are from, we see this. We're like, "Yaar, ki kar rahe ho ji?" Don't do that. I get it. There's emotion,
Don't do that.
there's anger, there's frustration. But the negative impact that you are having upon your child, and then the long-term mental, stigma and the stress and the strain that the child is going to go through is unbelievable.
No, you're right, Shaykh. You're right. So on the final few words I want to say is, I want to touch on that point I was going to mention as well, is that the effects of divorce, the impact on all sides, as we've said, it lasts for a long time. It doesn't just dissipate overnight or over a week or a month. It's a lifetime. The divorce effect could last for a lifetime, especially with the children, because the children always know their parents are divorced, right? Some they might get back together, but usually they don't. I mean, statistics show that most divorces, after divorce, they don't get back together. So that they're going to live with that, right? The parents, the community, and everyone has to live with that. And that's the second point I want to mention, that we've talked about the parents, the spouses, the children, but the community as well. The community needs to come together to alleviate the difficulties, not make more of them, right? Not say they divorced, they lived in that house there, they divorced in that house, right? This is what, we need to be more positive or helpful, as societies, as communities, we stigmatize, we look down upon anyone who doesn't fit into our little box, yeah? These boxes, you don't fit in, throw you out, yeah, get out of our community, or they're gone finally, yeah? Whoever's in our society, trust me, drug addicts, for goodness sake, even if it was murderers and stuff, right? We have to help people. We can't just throw them somewhere else because they're going to go murder somebody else. Can't just leave them there because they're going to spread drugs over there. We can't just let them say, "Oh, they're divorced, forget about them," because it's our community, it's the human beings.
Our brothers and sisters.
Exactly, our brothers and sisters. They need help, and as a community, I'm reaching out and saying, don't damage your children, don't damage your society. The people around you in all these relationships, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, spouses, your neighbors, your community members, your community, Muslim and non-Muslim, it's us. We have to work together. We have to support each other. We have to help each other. We need to be there for each other. And this is what is really causing a lot of the problems today. The mental health issues that we have now and all these kind of things. There's so many factors in society, so many things that are going on. And you were going to say earlier, he actually hit it. He didn't go fully into it. So I think, we didn't go back to that as well, which was that men are becoming quite flippant with divorce. Like you said earlier, they usually have more control. They usually want to, it's supposed to be like that. But now, divorce, it's okay. Divorce, yeah, I don't care. I said it, I don't care. Chalo ho gaya, yeah, theek hai. Who cares? I said it, innit? It's my right to say it, right? I can do what I want. Allah gave me the right, So we need to just calm down a bit. We need to just step back a bit and realize the immense responsibility we have in life, with others around us. And we just need to support each other. We shouldn't ever look down on someone for something that's happened to them in their life. Everybody can change. Anybody can change. Murderers can become awliya. Sayyidina Umar, who was on his way to kill the Prophet ﷺ, became Sayyidina Umar. Come on, let everyone 280 degrees. We just need to have that positive energy, and it could be what I'm trying to say, guys. What I'm trying to say here is it could be you that changes the life of somebody for the good with just one word, one positive reaction. Because you know what they're getting? They're getting negative, 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 negative. One person comes and smiles. One person comes and says, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let's just go out for a meal. Let's just how you just to give me a call or something. Show that protection. Show that kindness. You know what, you could change the life of someone. So that's my final message. That of course is a topic that is going to have a lot of what we've talked about today, this negative feeling or these difficulties and hardships and what it comes to. That's part of it. But we just need to be positive. And final words with you, Shaykh Saab. Over to you, and we'll good night to everyone. Thank you to. I just want to mention a comment here, Sister Alicia Khan, mashallah, Allah bless her. It says, that's a valid point. No one's happy with anyone. We can stand together. Thank you for supporting that comment and help them, because we can bring them back. Ameen. Thank you very much. Yeah, Jazakallah. Shaykh, over to you, and thank you to our viewers. From me, Assalamu alaikum, and Shaykh with the final words, and we'll see you next time. No, I'm just saying that it's getting to an hour and a half, and we've got viewers there. Our viewers probably don't want us to stop, but we just need to.
Now, I just want to end on a few points, inshallah ta'ala, which
go ahead.
Crucial ways of dealing with marriage separation. Okay, now it's happened, it's taken place. Divorce, you're going through the process of divorce. You are going through, or you have just elapsed. That time has elapsed. You've seen the ones that are yours, really yours, stuck around, and there was those who were just lip service. They ran away. All right, you've seen all of that. What I want you to do is one of the key things you need to look at, and all the study around this, from psychologists and psychiatrists, and all they say this. They say, accept that it is happening, and it has happened. You need to do that. You need to get to that place. It's happened, right? Whatever the reasons were, whatever the circumstances was, it's happened. That is something that's going to start helping you heal. Number 2, speak it out. Don't close down. Find those genuine individuals in your life who really love you, who are really yours. Okay, it might be a friend, it might be a colleague, and if it's not that, even a therapist. Seek some professional help. That's the third thing I'm going to say, if you don't have that, because this is a very traumatic experience. It is traumatic. Many human beings, your probably life has broken down completely. Your loved ones, the people that you had full trust in, have completely annihilated your trust. This is traumatic. This is the impact of that is unbelievable on your psyche, on your heart. In fact, research shows that a person who goes through divorce, especially a very ruthless divorce, right, where the money, wealth, position, honor, everything has been stripped away from them, they are prone to heart attack 2 to 3 times more than a normal person, because they can't control that aspect of the emotions and the feelings. If you don't have people within your inner circle, find professional help. Wallahi, it is out there. It is out there. And there are genuine people who will help you. Number 5, take time off. You need some time. You've been through a very traumatic experience in life. This was someone that you shared everything with. Stop. Who are you? Look at yourself. Man ana. Reconnect yourself with Rabb. Reconnect yourself with the tradition of Rasulullah. Reconnect yourself with the essence of Salah. Take time off from the world, from the trauma, from the taking your child, not having a child, your money, your wealth, your divorce, whatever has happened in that situation because of that traumatic experience of divorce. Take some time off from that. And finally, don't start a new relationship straight away. Don't start looking for a spouse there and then. recuperate, get your mind into the right place, work on yourself, deal with your anxieties, deal with your pains, deal with your traumas, and then find that value in yourself. I know you feel broken, you feel tired, you feel stressed. All you want is a little affection. But if you don't love yourself, it's going to be very hard for someone else to love you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me if I said anything out of context, out of place. Mawlaya, Allah give you strength as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.